Hello everyone, I'm the Reluctant Christian and welcome to Church Hopping. Today we are outside the First Baptist Church here in Claysville, Pennsylvania. Let's go take a look. The facts. Established 1886. Denomination, Baptist. Current pastor, Mike Matthews. Service times, Sunday school, 9:30 a.m., main service, 10:45 a.m. For those with little kids, they do have a nursery, but it is currently not in use as no families have babies at present. Well, that's it for the facts. Let's see what the people have to say about their church. How long have you been attending here?
Oh my goodness, 30 years.
31 years.
Since birth, 30 years, 31 years.
I was here 12 years ago, and now I've been here 5.
What first drew you to this place?
They preach the Bible and live by the Bible.
Well, it's my family church. I've been coming since I was a little kid or whatever, and it's family here.
Well, I didn't really have a choice. I was 18 months old when we started attending here.
I lived across the street.
What's your favorite part about this church?
I love the people. Like the one thing whenever I first came here, and it's always been the case, is the people love each other. And that to me is what the church is the love that people have for one another.
Well, like I said, we're really a family, you know. My extended biological family is not at all close, and you know, the different people in our church have adopted us as grandkids. They've adopted us as aunts and uncles. We call them aunt and uncle. And as a kid, you know, growing up, that was really important to me because I didn't have that in my biological family.
The closeness and the family aspect, like it's small, so everybody knows everybody and everybody cares about everybody here. Yep.
What would you like to say to anyone who's thinking about visiting your church?
If you're looking for a church and you feel like churches have let you down in the past, come visit our church. We will love on you. And that's really the thing that makes it a different type of church.
We would love to have you. We love seeing new faces, and we're friendly. So, you know, give us a chance.
If you want to hear the true story of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, come and see us. We'd love to have you.
Come on down, the water's fine.
Pastor Mike Matthews' sermon was on the need to leave our comfort zones, which was inspiring for me as I'm starting off this brand new show.
Because you will have people in your life that totally disagree with you about your faith. And if you don't, your circle is too small. Grow your circle. Become friends with someone that is different than you. If you don't have any friends that are different races than you or different religions than you, you better become friends with them. Try to become friends with them. I have friends who are Muslims. I have friends that are gay. I have friends that are Mormon. Different religions, different backgrounds. And I break bread with them. Why? Because that's what Jesus did. Jesus broke bread with fallen people. Why did he come? The last 3 weeks I've been preaching, he came to seek and save the lost. He came to seek and save the outcasts. We can't just hang out with our home team all the time. We have to go hang out with the away team. Because one time we were the away team. One time we were the enemies of God, and while we were dead in our sin, Jesus died for us.
I had the chance to talk to Pastor Mike Matthews after the service and ask him some questions. Okay, we are here with Pastor Mike Matthews. Thank you very much for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
Alright, I have a few questions for you, if you don't mind. So, what is it about the Claysville area that inspires your ministry here?
I love being here because you really get a hometown feeling. Everyone knows each other, and it's a really warm community. Like the moment we moved in, coming up on a year now, people knew I was a pastor. When I went to introduce myself to people at local stores or the pharmacy, people already knew who I was. So the secret gets out, right? So it's a great community to minister in, and you really get to know everybody. So you have a real opportunity to share the love of God with everyone, because everyone knows you.
How long have you been involved in ministry?
I've been in ministry since I was 24 years old. Got involved with youth ministry as a youth leader. Volunteered for like 5 or 6 years at my father-in-law's church in Washington, and then my wife started helping me, and then we started dating, and then she helped me in youth ministry for a long time, 7 years, right? And then that whole time I was preaching as what's called pulpit supply. So when a pastor took a Sunday off, they call me, and I often felt like the backup quarterback of pastors. I rode the bench a long time and was hoping to get in there. So yeah. So I always had a sermon ready, and you don't want to pray for a pastor to get sick, but when they had a sick day, I got called. So I've been in ministry since I was 24. So preaching, teaching, doing different ministries, guest speaking at different events. I've spoken to 5 people, been at college revivals and stuff like that, where you have 200 people, and so God was giving me a lot of opportunities to get me ready. But I'm coming up on actually this week will be 1 year of being the pastor here at First Baptist.
What makes your church unique?
Our church is unique because we're very, now everything's coming back around in style. We're we're a traditional worship service, so we have hymns. We are truly biblical. We believe we're simple. We're a simple church trying to do big things through God. And I think that's what makes us unique, because we are not a church that has a big budget. I would love to say, we have flat screens and stuff like that. Maybe one day the Lord has it in our plans for us, but we're a simple church. And I love that this is my first pastor, because I truly can focus on just loving on people, teaching them the word, and we're not, bigger is not always better. So that's why I really love our church, is because I can really get to know everyone. I get to be everyone's pastor. In certain churches you get so big where the lead pastor can't know everyone. So here I can have a relationship with the parents and the grandparents and the students. They all get to know me, and I can all teach them at different levels the same message of the gospel. So that's why I like it.
Care to tell us your personal testimony?
Yeah. Well, I didn't really grow up in church as a kid. I came to faith when I was 19, summer after I graduated high school. I came to faith down at a church called Central Assembly of God. One of my best friends, Aaron Miller, he's a local youth pastor in Washington. He actually led me to Christ when we were teenagers. I was born with a disability called cerebral palsy. The doctors wrote me off at a very young age. They told my family I would never walk or be intelligent, and I actually didn't start walking until I was 4 years old. And I just grew up. I was mad because certain people would take me to faith healers, and they would try getting me healed. So I had this kind of attitude about life where I was mad at the world because they rejected me. I was mad at God because I was being taught that God didn't love me because I was disabled. And through all that bad teaching, Jesus saved me. And at 19, when I realized, it was funny because when I was 19, it didn't kick in until I was older, but God used my friend Aaron Miller to really lead me to Christ. But prior to that, an older guy pulled me aside one day and said, "Do you want to go to hell?" And I was like, "No, I don't know anyone that ever actually answered yes." But he led me through the sinner's prayer and patted me on the back and said, "Okay, you're in." I was like, "In what? Did I get a hat? Did I get a t-shirt?" Like, I didn't understand what I did. So it was through the friendship of my friend Aaron and me reading the Gospel of John, that I saw that Jesus was God. And like I told you off camera, it totally messed my life up. I went from this angry kid with a disability with a chip on my shoulder. Like, I felt like I had to prove able-bodied people wrong. Like, if it was football or soccer, if I could beat an able-bodied person, I counted or something. So God taught me that He loved me the way I am. He died for my sins, and that He could use somebody with cerebral palsy to advance the gospel. Once I realized who Jesus was, I just had a desire to tell people. Like, I wanted to be a preacher. I didn't wake up one day and say, oh, I think I want to be a pastor. He did this to me. I didn't. So it was very early on, 22, 23, where I started getting preaching experiences at like the city mission. And I've been there now going on 12 years. It's my longest preaching gig. And I used to tease the guys that were at the Bible Chapel in Washington, because when they first opened up, I was preaching on Sundays, and they took my gig. They took my gig, and they took over the Sunday morning service. I used to tease them, and at that time, I started attending the Bible Chapel, and the residents at the city mission, they thought I was on staff. They knew me as the guy, so I used to have to tell them, no, I'm just a member here. So, yeah, it's been good. God has been good to me. I remember when I was 7 years old, and my mom meant well. She took me to a faith fair, and in the service, this woman said, I'm going to heal this little crippled boy. The whole service. I'm going to heal him. I'm going to save his healing to the end. And at the very end, she tried to heal me. And she smacked me on my head. And I wanted to go down. So she tripped me, hooked my leg and knocked me down. And I got back up. And I still had cerebral palsy. And she goes, I healed him spiritually. I was like, did I miss the fine print on the prayer? So I really...
Did I need to sign a waiver before I did this?
So I learned, when God saved me, it truly was a miracle, because when He entered my life at 19, I gave up on God. I gave up on church and everything, because I just thought the only thing I ever seen was the prosperity gospel, the health and wealth, that if you're not rich or wealthy or healthy, God don't love you. But what God taught me is that in our weaknesses, He gets the most glory. And one of my favorite verses is 2 Corinthians 12:9, where it says, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in your weakness. That changed my life. Like, I stopped praying for God to heal me once I read that verse, I stopped praying for God to heal me. I started praying for Him to use me. And look what He has done. Like, it's amazing me to this day that He's using the guy with cerebral palsy to be a pastor. Like, when the world wrote me off, when other churches wrote me off, Jesus was like, I got a plan for you. So, yeah. That's my testimony.
So what led you to the First Baptist Church here in Claysville?
Well, it was pretty cool. So, how God works things together. We came to, it was last summer. We came to their vacation Bible school, and Reese really loved it. And through the process, prior to that, for a year, I was helping out a small church out in West Middletown. Small church, 7 people. I was preaching there for a year. A buddy and I, he was helping me. We were training Sundays. We were preaching, and then all of a sudden, that summer of 2016, we heard that First Baptist pastor took on a new pastor in another state, that they were looking for a pastor. And just small talk. Robin was talking to a member that she knew that goes there, and they suggested I put my application in. And I really love that this is my first pastor, because it's a very loving church. They have a history of giving pastors their first pastor. They have hired a lot of people out of seminary through the years. It just feels right. Like from the first interview, this really feels like our home church, and that we were meant to be here. And because the crazy thing is, well, they were considering me for pastor. Another church down in Waynesburg was considering me, and the day that I was supposed to go preach down there, as part of the interview process, we could tell by the leadership down there they were not going our way. We just, Rob and I felt it, and we both said in the car, no matter how, we're all human, and we all take rejection hard. Even though we realized that they were going to tell us no, we had peace about it because we felt like God was calling us to First Baptist. We just felt like this is where God wanted us, and it's been a blessing. Like the day they voted me in, because the pulpit committee picked me, but the congregation had a vote on me, and I had to at least get 80% of the vote, and I got 100%.
Wow.
And that never happens. It was the first time that it ever happened, they told me. So we knew we were supposed to be here. And I am learning how to be a better pastor every week. And they're willing to let me learn and grow as a pastor. So that's what drove it. That's what called us to First Baptist. Like, God's hand was in it. Yeah.
And lastly, what would you like to say to anyone who might be thinking about visiting First Baptist?
I would say, give us a try. This church has loving people, and we have a simple approach to worship. We have a simple approach to ministry. We're simply a group of people trying to know Jesus and make Him known. We're not going to be a perfect church. We're not. But there's no perfect churches out there. But if you're looking for an intimate setting where you get to really know people who you worship with, I would say First Baptist is the place for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
With Pastor Mike Matthews, the First Baptist Church in Claysville is in good hands, and it has a very warm and loving congregation. Thank you all for making me feel very welcomed. Well, it's time I headed off. I'll see you guys on the next church hopping. I love you, and may God bless.
But as long as we're here on this earth, let's be a church that speaks and lives the gospel. Let's be real about it. All right. I'm done.